So of course there's many types of people, but I'm gonna call out two specifically, okay? You got the people who bring their phone out to errands, but it comes like, this will happen to anybody. You forgot to charge your phone the night before, you're out, city's over, your phone's on 17%. Small world, small world. Yeah, you got people like that, and then you got people like myself, guilty of this, of course, who isn't guilty of this specific thing. You just put something down for a second, like let's say your keys, your phone, your harmonica, if you're like that. You just put it down, you place it somewhere, then you go about your afternoon. And then the second that you need it, like let's say, oh no, you're late for work. What are you gonna do? You're like, where did I put my keys? I mean, I call this the mustard bottle predicament. Like, you're like, hey, where's the ketchup? I can't find it. Why am I talking about ketchup all of a sudden? It's called the mustard bottle. No, forget about that. But the point is, it's in front of your face the entire time. And the weirdest place, true story, the weirdest place I've ever lost my keys, my phone, my harmonica, my self-respect, was underneath a pillow, okay? Like, normally I'm an insomniac, but leaving a solid under your pillow, not very convenient. And how did you forget about it? It must have been a long day, if we do say so ourselves. You're watching the Rob Rodriguez show, and I gotta stop coming up with these puns because I'm running out of them, and personally they're cheesy, so let's just start the show. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Rob Rodriguez. Now, this is usually the part of the show where I come up with the excuse of the week for why I wasn't around. But I'm going to probably put that to rest, like put that behind us. Let's face it, if there's no show the following week, there's no show the following week. If there's a consistency where there is a show every Friday, we'll get to that eventually, but please stay tuned for any further updates. Yeah. I feel like I'm briefing you on the Trump White House right now, but I'm not. Because we don't get into politics, and not necessarily because I myself don't understand them. It's just that my opinion doesn't really count. That's what we have a whole 10-plus minute show for. Okay, so, just like everybody else, I took English in school. And, early on in the golden era of the Rob Rodriguez show, also known as the years nobody understands, we tried to explain story structure. I am really bad at explaining some stuff, especially, how a story works. How do people fall in love? And I say that because it would just be ridiculous to ask you, the audience, where do babies come from? I mean, I'm 21 years old, I should know this. But anyway, up until recently I realized I could have just word for word quoted Avril Lavigne to explain this story structure, using the song Skater Boy. I mean, he was a boy, she was a girl. Could I make it any more obvious? And then we could have just left it at that. Why couldn't we just do that? I mean, we kind of have that pop culture shtick, which kind of died down recently. But, hey, listen, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. It's not like I can keep up this pop culture persona guy all the time. I mean, I just started listening to more stuff past my deadline of 2015, so it's just the way things go. moving on. It's pretty interesting, like, some weeks we are ripping things straight from the headlines. Other things I'm pulling straight from my noggin. That's kind of how things work here. Like, some stuff I can make up, other stuff I get influenced by. Let's just face it, here we are hooked on phonics big time. Hashtag nostalgia. But there are some cases where maybe a subject is too difficult to talk about, or maybe the week was just too hectic, that the show either goes on a Saturday or doesn't happen at all. I mean, why wait is what a lot of you are thinking. And my procrastinating nature, which I am working on reducing a bit, so we can have more episodes like this one that actually air on time. But until then, cue very catchy song. I mean, waiting to do something the last minute usually blows up in your face, kind of like when you buy one of those 99-cent off-brand drinks, and then when you bring it home, it just explodes immediately. Yeah, a lot of you can relate because it just happened to you in the car. Or was that just me? Yep. My car is... It's such a contradiction that one, your car smells lemony fresh, but the carpet is sticky. Nobody likes that. There's also, like, cases where it goes both ways. Like, oh, someone's having a party on Saturday. But we forgot to tell this one person. Actually, I think he might want to come. So, boop, 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 give him a call or a text, because it's not 2003, and say, hey, I'm doing a meetup this Saturday. Want to come? And then you're like, oh, I mean, I have nothing better to do, so I think I can come. But should I bring something? I don't know, just be creative, you know. We're keeping it under $25 because us millennials, we crazy. And so you go to a dollar store, a Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Lieutenant 99-cent, if that actually exists. I'm pretty good at inferences lately, so if that actually exists, that'll make my day. And then, you know, you buy pool floats, you buy one of those, actually, you know what, I haven't seen this all over social media. What is this unicorn floaty? This giant thing that seats two people. It's like, there's one that's a unicorn, one that's a Pegasus. I mean, like, I was pleased with those mesh floats. That, you know, your back gets wet, but hey, you're still on the surface. Not a flotation device. Not a flotation device. But you know what? If you wanted to lounge and your back was, let's say you're swimming in the winter and your back was freezing, but the top of you is like kind of okay with the breeze because it's nice. Who's to say buying that unicorn float for this party wasn't a bad idea? Sometimes things like that just work out. But other times, if you just buy a pretzel at a 7-Eleven. Why are we friends again? Oh, right. We had that one thing in common. Oh, anyway, we got a great show. Great rest of the show, I should say. Because who knows how long we've been going on about procrastination. Like, that's kind of what we're doing right now. That being said, I'm going to need a minute. Well, now that we're off the topic of procrastination, let's talk about last minute things you aren't prepared to deal with. Like, for instance, despite my age, I would never in a million years walk into a Victoria's Secret. Did you need to know that? Probably not. But hey, It's on your list of things you didn't know about your host up until recently. I mean, I keep you in the dark most weeks. It's good to know facts. Take this for example for something you're not prepared to deal with. Let's say you're lounging by the pool in Lanai, if you have one. Let's rephrase that. Let's say you're at a public pool for the weekend, and okay, that sounded kind of harsh, but just let's follow our example here. So you're just walking around the ring of the pool with your phone, listening to, that #1 song that Drake brought out with all the Degrassi alumni. And then all of a sudden, something like that happens. And then, okay, long story short, you drop your phone in the pool. Now, you didn't have an OtterBox, unfortunately, so that phone did not survive. So much data down the drain. And for once, it's not the carrier's fault. And I know we've picked on companies in the past, like Progressive. We are so shallow about Progressive, and I have no idea why. And I've been waiting to turn the camera back on to say I have nothing against Progressive. It's just, why do Progressive, Allstate, Liberty Mutual commercials, Liberty Mutual commercials keep playing constantly throughout the day? I'm hearing some of these commercials in my sleep. And then the radio, it's a whole different ballgame. But hey, are you going to buy a new phone, or are you going to DIY your way out of this and then just put your phone in some rice? I mean, like, your calls are already... I'm sorry, I gotta do this. If I had a jar that I could just put $1 in every time I say a cheesy pun, I would. But no, I have a TARDIS that I keep coins in, so I can afford to say this. I mean, your calls are already grainy to begin with, and now you're putting your phone in rice. Fat chance that this is going to work, that your phone's going to survive. You're going to have to start DMing all your friends saying, "New phone, who dis?" I love that line so much. It's time for that weekly list known as the possibility list. It's kind of like when you watch something in HD because you have no standards. Alright, this week's list is titled 9 Things I Plan on Doing Sometime. Yeah, because the theme of procrastination has been all over this episode. And the sad thing is, I'm pretty sure we're going to cycle this all over again. But either way, number 9, audition for Big Brother. Number 8, find a job I can hold longer than 6 months. Number 7, finish a whole series instead of stopping second to last season. Number 6, drive long distance. Number 5, write more sketches with people in them. Yeah, because, it's much more eye-opening when instead of just talking, I can actually, give you a visual, like doing sketches with people. Because then it's... Yeah, I'll tell you later. Number 4, get a full 8 hours of sleep. Number 3, develop a palate for hot sauce. Number 2, learn Spanish. And number 1, 9 things I plan on doing sometime. A weekly show. Alright, and that is the possibility list for you this week. Well, that is the show for you this week. You know how to follow me on social media. Until next time, please check out the second channel. Like I said, I did my first blooper reel. I hope you enjoy that. And I will see you next time. Okay.